But how do I promote psychological safety? Give me practical tips. Tip number 1, please build the habit that it's okay to consult downwards. I'm going to let that sink in. Downwards. Because usually when we say consulting someone, we often think consult someone better than you. Consult someone with expertise. Consulting downwards is when alam mo na ang sagot. You know the answer already, but you still theatrically ask the question from your teams. Right? What do I mean? Let's say, for example, you're choosing a color for a poster. You want it to be either blue or red. You know it's good to be red. So probably you've made up your mind for it to be red. But you still ask your team, I'm feeling red today, but what do you think? Blue or red? And the fact that you ask that question, it sends them a message. No matter how small my position is, my opinions count. That is consulting downwards. That is telling them, and by the way, when you ask, don't just ask for the sake of asking, ha? Mamaya ask ka ng ask, but all of their suggestions are never aired as well. Right? So you have to balance in this case. But consulting downwards usually is a trademark of a company that values everyone's opinions. I also want to highlight this. It's proven in a lot of studies published by Harvard Business Review in 2019. Anonymous suggestion boxes usually do not work as well. Why? Because you're sending a message that your identity does not need to be known just for you to suggest an idea. If you really are brave and if you really celebrate people, you let them know who they are. Number 2, treat feedback as a two-way street. Madali na to. This is easy on paper, but it's hard for the ego. When we do evaluation for our teams, and how many times do you do your evaluation, by the way, every year? Twice? Like the major evaluation, like the numbers and behavior, performance, etc. Wala ba? I'm sure you have an answer for that. 2, 1, okay? So when you do that, obviously, it's always geared towards downloading it to the employee. The question is there a space for the employee sharing their thoughts about you? Right? And one of my favorite ever evaluation templates are templates wherein there is a space dedicated that the employee can give feedback to their manager so that they're accountable in that paper and in that document. It's a two-way street. If you don't have that, then at least have that mindset. John, I've given to you my thoughts. What about me? I'd like to ask, how can I be a better leader for you? A simple 30-minute Starbucks session can also work for that. And you don't even need to wait for the evaluation meeting for that to happen. Finally, number 3, more than anything else, more than putting structure, the easiest way for people to feel psychologically safe is because they know that it's okay to ask. And that means you have to show that you are a human being with vulnerabilities. Agree? Hindi ka Diyosa. Right? You're a human being who also makes mistakes. Because usually, when we are young, and you have lots of young teen folks, we usually put our bosses into a pedestal. Agree? Right? They're untouchable. They're like a K-pop idol sometimes. Right? What is vulnerability? Vulnerability is showing to them that if I make a mistake, I owe up to it and it's fine. Maryland University in 2013, one of my favorite studies, they asked a group of speakers to speak to an audience. Group A, the speaker delivered the speech well-polished, perfectly expressed. In a second speaker, he delivered the same speech, but in the middle of it, he spilled some coffee onto his shirt. He made a joke about it, connected it to the talk, and then he left. After the 2 speakers left, the audience were asked to rank. Which of the 2 speakers do you think is more approachable? That you're willing to ask questions about what he said? Make a guess, A or B? B, right? So I'm not here to make a suggestion you have to spill coffee, right? My point is, when he spilled coffee onto his shirt, he became vulnerable. He showed that he makes mistakes, he owes up to it, and he's able to bounce back from it, and he's able to say, it happens to everyone. That kind of vulnerability is what you need to express to your teams for them to know that it's okay to knock on your doors, send you a message and say, can I ask this question because I don't understand it? And that they will not be apprehended or that they will think that they are stupid because they asked that question. Right? That is how you promote psychological safety.